Mr. Conyers, 91 years young and still very, very fit. A word on Just Add Shutters in just a moment. How you like that intro, Eddie?
It's pretty good, Gary. I have a few changes I'd like to make, but I'll go with that with you later.
Hey, what about you calling that Florida game down there in the swamp, Al?
Well, you get a feeling about games, and although that game was really closer than the score showed, Florida scored real late with that long run, which one guy should have had a dead tackle on the guy and missed it. Those sort of things happen. Hey, look, Gary, on to another subject. When you mentioned something about NASCAR, at practice yesterday, I met Donnie Allison.
Did you really?
Yeah, Eddie Allison is
his brother,
a big Alabama fan.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie was there with his brother, and I got to talk to Donnie. It was really enlightening. I enjoy that.
Yeah, good deal. I love me some NASCAR. We had Kyle Petty on earlier today to talk about the big race. So that's cool, Eddie. That's you're a well-rounded sportsman. I'll give you that. It's not just football for Eddie Conyers. Are you going to the race Sunday?
No, but I enjoy watching them. I'm not that much into NASCAR, but it kind of gets to you. You get to going. You hear those motors going, and it kind of stirs you up.
Yep, it does. I tell you what else stirs us up is Alabama football. You know that. You've been out there this week on the practice field coming off the bye week. Huge road game tomorrow at Kyle Field in College Station. What's your vibe? What's watching this team work all week tell you about how you think you're going to play tomorrow?
Under Coach Saban, it doesn't vary an awful lot, Gary, really, quite frankly. His practices are so orchestrated and well planned. Very little seems to change. Alabama's got a really good football team. But Texas A&M, when you got a quarterback like that Mon guy, if you and he maybe remember last year when they were here, he just got in the zone, and that's kind of hard to defend. But I think the key probably lands up with him. If he's having a zone day, it could be interesting.
I want to ask you about the relationship between these two schools because it's long and there's a lot of tie-ins. Of course, Coach Bryant left A&M after 4 years because Mama called. He came home to Tuscaloosa, but his time spent there developed a lot of relationships. His only Heisman Trophy winner, John David Crowe, played for him, later coached at Alabama a couple years under him. His son, John David Crowe's son, played at Alabama under Coach Bryant. Of course, obviously, Gene Stallings played for Coach Bryant at Texas A&M, and that relationship, led to Coach Stallings being here as an assistant and later as the head coach. Of course, Jack Pardee was very close to Coach Bryant. All kinds of tie-ins between these two schools. Later, Jackie Sherrill coached at Texas A&M, and then Dennis Franchione left Alabama for A&M. So even though these two teams were not in the same conference for a long, long time and have now been since 2012, there's a lot of relationships, a lot of positive relationships between these two schools.
Very much so. Steve, you think of that because there's really a lot of relationships between the two schools, and they're good relationships, too. But Coach Bryant loved Texas A&M, too. Of course, obviously, he loved Alabama.
John David Crowe, I was thinking about him yesterday because we're doing a story on Crimson Tide Kickoff tomorrow, which you are part of, obviously, with your weekly segment, about the fact that he was Coach Bryant's only Heisman Trophy winner. That Heisman Trophy's over here in the Bryant Museum. I never got to interview Mr. Crowe, but you saw him and got to know him when he was an assistant coach here. I heard he was as classy a gentleman and as good a person as there's ever been on the face of this earth. What are your recollections of John David Crowe?
When I think of John David, he had a face impairment.
Yeah, he had Bell's palsy, which I had too.
When you looked at him, if you didn't know him or anything else, when you first looked at him, it was, I don't even use the word grotesque, but it was a little askew.
Like he'd had a stroke. It looked like he'd had a stroke.
But as you got to know John David, it was almost like that disappeared. He was a very handsome man and a quality individual. He later went out and coached what's now, I think, ULM, University of Louisiana Monroe. Mm-hmm. And Joe LeBoux was down there with him. When I was in the Gulf South, I had a game there in Monroe, and when I went on the field, Coach John David Crowe and Joe LeBoux came over, and we were hugging and carrying on. And there I am, an official with the coaches, hugging. I could see the other team's coach looking, thinking, "Damn, this game's over."
He was like, "Man, get that official out of here. He's on the take."
Yeah. We were hugging and carrying on something awful. But to answer your question, John David was a quality individual. not to mention a great athlete.
And then Coach Stallings, his relationship with both schools continues today, although it's funny. I don't know if you know this, Eddie. Guess where Gene Stallings will be tomorrow?
With the game?
He'll be at the Texas-Oklahoma game. How about that one?
Really?
Yeah. He said he was on Ryan Fowler's show, and he said, I guess, that his preacher got him tickets or something, and he didn't think about the games being on the same day, and he said he's going to be stuck there watching the Red River rivalry. So, that's going to be killing him when Alabama and A&M are playing in College Station. But I thought that was funny. But Gene Stallings, you got to be close to him. I think that in the back of his mind, I don't know that he ever knew he would get this job, but I think he kind of always wanted an opportunity to be the head coach at Alabama, and then it didn't look like it was ever going to happen. Then all of a sudden, the Bill Curry situation unfolds, and he leaves for Kentucky. The next thing you know, Alabama needs a coach, and really kind of I don't think many people put Gene Stallings as the front runner. A lot of people thought he might get it after Coach Bryant retired initially, but he comes back and gets to be the coach here. 7 years, 70 wins, a national championship, and after a lot of turmoil under Perkins and Curry, really Coach Stallings kind of righted the ship here, didn't he?
Oh, very much so. And he, of course, he loved his time in. He loved Alabama and did a fantastic job. And, Johnny was born here.
That's right, when Coach Stallings was an assistant, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I never get Coach Stallings told one time when he was a 22-year-old coach here at Alabama, his first meeting with Coach Bryant and all the other assistant coaches, you had Sam Bailey and a bunch of really the old coaches with Coach Bryant. But anyway, Coach Stallings told me, he said, at our first meeting, I didn't say anything. I just sat there and listened. Coach Bryant gets up and says something like, well, this week we'll use a 4-3 defense. We'll play man-man. And he says, does anybody have any questions? And he said, Pat James stood up and said, Coach, I'll go along with that. And he said, Coach Bryant let him know whether or not he went along with it or not without any question. But after that, Coach Stallings said every time Coach Bryant would say something, they'd look over at Pat and say, hey, Pat, you go along with that.
The fact that you brought that up, because you're a great storyteller, and I know you've heard this story, and I want to get you to tell it. I'll just start it off. And I think Dude Hennessy, I got to know well when I moved back to work here at the TV station before he passed. I think Dude was the ringleader, but they used to, the assistant coaches, of course, Coach Bryant would, break down the film and grade it and find everybody's flaws and all this and so forth. But they said Dude one time found some video of Coach Bryant, film of Coach Bryant when he was a player at Alabama, and he was grading the film. And all the coach, he was there's a demerit here, there's and having fun. And Coach Bryant walked in and stood at the back of the room while Dude was grading the film, and Dude didn't know he was in there. You ever hear that story?
I've heard versions of it. I don't know, but it sounded like something Dude would do, and I can imagine what he felt like when Coach Bryant walked in the room.
Oh, Coach Griska said Dude just turned 16 shades of red when Coach Bryant turned that light on and was standing back there. And what are you doing? No, Coach, just showing them how the proper technique, showing them how to do it. Just look, started trying to cover himself. But
sounds like Dude. Dude was quite a character. Yeah. And a great assistant coach. He coached high school in Kentucky, by the way.
Terrific football coach. And we're not going to get into it today because we're getting short on time, but one of these days I'm going to get, because I know you know this one about the press box phone at Vanderbilt that year with Dude put the static in the phone. We'll save that for another week. Hey, something I should have done a couple of weeks ago, speaking of, because we're kind of going down memory lane with this A&M game with John David Crowe, Gene Stallings, and all the tie-ins. I should have done this a couple of weeks ago, and I failed to ask you about our mutual friend Tommy Brooker, who recently passed and was a great player here at Alabama, was a terrific kicker in the National Football League, never missed an extra point in his years in the AFL and in the NFL, and a terrific businessman, came from a tough background, made something of himself. What do you remember about Tommy Brooker?
Well, mostly with Tommy. Tommy's daddy and I became pretty good friends. But Tommy was obviously, from down at the mountain. Mm-hmm. But Tommy was just the epitome of a Bryant player. He was not all that fast. He really wasn't all that big. And he was, I hate to use the word ordinary. Coach Bryant called him in-betweeners. But Tommy fit that very much so. But he was a tremendous player for Alabama and in the early parts of Bryant's career, and was added to that considerably. But Tommy's a great guy, great businessman, a great friend, by the way.
Yeah, he's missed and did a lot. Didn't he start the A Club Foundation, Eddie?
That's right, which helps players in trouble.
Yeah, and it continues today. All right, before we close it out, give us a little nugget. Give us a little. It doesn't have to be about Coach Bryant. It doesn't necessarily even have to be about Alabama football. It could be. Just leave us on a high note and make a smile here before you close it out.
Well, I think about the coin toss in high school. I had a championship game one time, and you win the toss, you kick, receive, defend, either goal or defer. But I went through this whole thing with this captain, and I said, "Captain, what do you want to do?" And he said, "We want to win in the fourth quarter." I never will forget. I thought, what in the world am I going to do here? I remember telling him, "Son, I don't know which way the wind's blowing right now."
That's a true story.
Oh, yeah. It was in a championship game.
Some of the things that you that blows my mind. That definitely is going to leave us with a smile. Hey, before we get off the line here, Mr. Conyers, obviously your appearance each week is brought to you by Just Add Shutters. Clearly, you want people to do business with them because your son, Bubba, along with Royce and Sam, they run it locally owned and operated for over 24 years while carrying the prestigious A-plus Better Business Bureau rating, specializing in shutters, shutter repairs, shades, and blinds. Known for the outstanding quality of their American-made hardwood plantation shutters, JAS offers these premium shutters in any color or size. In addition, JAS carries the pinnacle of exterior shutters, powder-coated aluminum, also offered in an array of colors for both colonial and Bahama-style settings. You want to spruce up your home, but you don't want to spend a ton of money to do it? Give them a call at Just Add Shutters, 205-752-3476. That's 205-752-3476. Let Royce and Sam come out and look at your home and get you fixed up. I know you got those shutters in your house, Eddie.
Yes, you do, all the way around. They add considerably to it. Of course, I would say that, but I really mean it. They add considerably to the appearance and the effectiveness of the house.
All right, Mr. Conyers, enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you again next Friday.
Okay, Gary. Nice talking to you, buddy.